Adding the right high-speed networking solutions, power electronics and cooling, and even the right firmware and software as needed. Supermicro has two huge competitive advantages. First, their server solutions are completely modular. Supermicro calls their modules server building blocks, kind of like Lego pieces but for data centers. Some customers might need more memory, while others might want more storage. Some data centers might want more CPUs, while others want to deploy as many accelerators as they can. Supermicro also has building blocks for power, cooling, and networking that can be optimized for specific data centers and specific workloads. This building block approach is what lets SMCI quickly build solutions for so many different markets. When a company like NVIDIA launches a new chip, Supermicro doesn't need to design a whole new server system for it. They just design a new building block that connects to the rest of their ecosystem. The other big advantage is being headquartered in Silicon Valley, not Taiwan or China. That means when NVIDIA designs a new GPU on Blackwell, NVIDIA can share the chip designs with Supermicro to start laying out and optimizing the boards, the connectors and cooling, and everything else that keeps the B100 chips running at peak performance once they're installed in actual data centers. And because they're right down the street, updates and changes to the chip's design are easier to share and coordinate. This is a serious advantage. NVIDIA recently delayed their Blackwell GPUs by 3 months due to design flaws. So as those designs evolve, NVIDIA will want Supermicro to minimize Blackwell's time to market so that their customers can start earning returns on their billion-dollar infrastructure investments faster, especially if that means NVIDIA can get their chips up and running before their competitors. That's why Supermicro Computer focuses on time to market as their key metric of success, and they've seen a lot of success this year, with their stock more than doubling year to date, even after sliding alongside other tech stocks. SMCI stock is set to split 10-for-1 on Monday, October 1st. So anyone holding SMCI on Friday, September 27th will receive 9 additional shares for each one they own. In theory, stock splits shouldn't matter. Supermicro Computer will have 10 times the shares at 1/10 the price, and that's that. But in reality, studies show that companies announcing stock splits tend to rise an average of 25% over the next year versus about 12% for the S&P 500. One big reason for that outperformance is many brokerages outside the US still don't offer fractional shares. So SMCI's share price going from $600 to $60 lowers the barrier of entry tenfold for those investors. Just something to consider before saying stock splits don't matter. Alright, I know this video is a little long, but I wanted to be thorough since investors might be missing the big picture by only focusing on NVIDIA stock ahead of earnings. NVIDIA's AI chips are unlocking huge investing opportunities in a wide variety of industries, but they all rely on solid server infrastructure, high bandwidth memory, and the machines that build them. And in my opinion, the way to find the winners in these quickly growing hardware markets is to understand the science behind the stocks. That's the best way to get rich without getting lucky. So if you feel I've earned it, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. That lets me know to put out more research like this. Either way, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Ticker Symbol U. My name is Alex, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in you.
First time an American has been made player. One of the biggest clubs in the world. No pressure.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Trade by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
It's a very good time to be UFO expert in.
A lot has. It's unidentified, and it flies around the base, and that leaked. And the names of the witnesses leaked. 3 days later,
Can you explain? I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but can you just say what it did, like how it moved?
it was like didn't have any visible means of propulsion. It didn't have any wings. It didn't have propellers. It just looked like a like an object, a round sort of object, weird shape, almost like a helmet or something, with things coming off of it, and it was just moving around the base. And
How fast?
nobody slowly.
Oh,
there it is.
footage?
Yep,
Okay.
that's
So
it.
this is-
That's exactly it. Yep.
It's definitely not a big balloon.
You hear everybody talking about it. The audio that goes along with it, and I had it cleaned up. It is they're all talking like nobody knows what it is.
So this is Zoom. Is this why it's moving around like that? They're trying to keep it in focus and
It's
zooming on it.
all. Mr. Sands explains all of that in the film, the program. He talks about it. So anyway, so this leaks, people's names, the witnesses leaks, and 3 days later, he's in a convoy. Gesundheit. He's in a convoy, and it's early in the morning, and there's 3 jeeps, in convoy on a dirt road headed out Nell's test range. And they see what looks like maybe somebody was involved in a plane crash. There's somebody that was struggling out in the middle of the desert. It was early in the morning, wintertime, and they're looking at this individual like, oh my God, is that a person? That individual needs some help. That individual looks like they need some help. They look cold. Their skin had a slight blue tint to it. And they're looking at this gentleman and they're like, hey, stop the convoy. This person needs help, medical attention. Maybe they had a plane crash. And so we're going to help this person out. And they pull the convoy over. And this individual comes up to the car. Jason Sands gets out the right side of the door. And as he's getting out, somebody in the truck screams, he's got no effing ears. And Jason says he turns around and he looks at this guy, and he had the same kind of uniform that they had on, but the uniform was just immaculate. Like there wasn't any dust on it, no dust on the boots. And he was thinking to himself, well, that's weird. This guy's got no ears. This guy's some kind of mutant. And he looks at him and he said his eyes were a lot bigger. It's all illustrated in the movie. And then he starts talking like, he said it was like a snake bite him and he was just paralyzed with fear. It was really scary. What am I looking at? Is this a human? Is this a mutant? Is this an alien? What is this? And I starts talking to him in gibberish. But he said he started to understand, like telepathically, everything this person or entity, being, creature, alien, whatever you want to call it, was saying to him, and he was looking for some kind of metal. And he didn't know tantalum. And Jason says, like, I don't know, I don't have any. You mean titanium? He's like, no, tantalum or something. And this conversation goes on for a bit, and then the guy just wanders back off and gets into that little crack that looked very similar to what you just saw there, and flies away. And he sort of stair-stepped away, and everybody sort of came out of this comatose state, and off they went. And we have the names of the other military witnesses that were on duty during the encounter, the alleged encounter. People are going to criticize me because I'm reporting on a close encounter of the third kind. But this, Jason Sands says he's willing to do a lie detector test, like public. He's willing to testify under oath that everything he's saying is true. We have a date, we have a location, and we have the names of the other on-duty officers. So what I'm hoping is, despite the level of criticism I'm going to receive for reporting on this, is that other individuals that have more information on this are going to be inclined to come forward. I also met with people, the Senate Armed Service Committee, Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, in the House, and they said Jason Sands is who he says he is. He checks out. He's named previously classified programs. He's identified. The guy's legit. His credentials check out, and so I opted to go ahead and report on it with the hope that more information will come out on it.
Listen, man, there's nothing wrong with reporting on a story like that. There's been a bunch of them. It's not a small number of these things where people have experienced these things. And imagine if it's true.
If it's true,
They're
yeah.
not all liars. I can't believe they're all liars.
Oh, yeah, it's
But imagine being that person who had that experience and not have anybody believe you. Not only that, but it could actually ruin your reputation and your career to talk about this experience. Which is the reality. It's one of the things that
2024.
stifle discourse on this until I think the New York Times really broke the ice. I think in 2017 when they published that, all of a sudden serious people who were unwilling to talk about UFOs before just for the ridicule.
Yeah.
Now you've got the gimbal video, the Go Fast video, you've got fighter pilots, Commander David Fravor, you've got these people discussing these things openly, like, okay, this seems like something that a serious person can discuss now. And so then it's open. But actually meeting one and talking to, it's like the Varginha story. Like when I told people the cop picked it up and carried it in the car and the cop
The
died
man
from
handled it.
some horrible bacterial infection that they couldn't cure.
He was rubbing himself down with rubbing alcohol.
Watch this.
I used to hate shaving. The burn, the bumps, the plastic waste, and worst of all, the cost. So I decided to do something about it. I resurrected a vintage design and I called it the single edge. Shaving has never been the same again.
According to his family, like, he was like, "This greasy stuff on my skin."
Just,
And he was rubbing himself down, and he had the stench, smell, grease.
yeah.
And then I interviewed the doctors. There's a couple of, actually going back to Brazil next month. There were a couple of forensic pathologists that are willing to come forward that we're going to cover, kind of update the movie and re-release. But it's an ongoing investigation.
Wouldn't that be the best protection from an alien planet's bacteria if you had the most vicious bacteria on the surface of your skin? Right? Like imagine, like if you go to another planet and the way to mitigate the effects of viruses and bacteria on that planet is to have skin fluid that's like unbelievably
membrane.
toxic. Like, anything that comes near you just gets cooked.
Yeah, like a skunk.
Right.
Have you ever had a skunk?
Oh yeah, I had a skunk out my dog once.
I checked out this guy's garbage one time, and he's like, "Hey, look at that, it's in my garage." You flip up the thing and drop it in there. So I was kind of hungover. We had a party the night before, and I went out to the garbage can, and I kind of heard like some rustling in the garbage can, but I didn't really think anything of it. And I like lifted up the thing, and then I heard some rustling again. So I reached over and I put my head down inside, and the skunk just turned and got me right in the face. Now I held my breath. I held my breath, and I closed my eyes at the last second, and it went right through me. It penetrated my molecules. It was so powerful that it was paralyzing. Absolutely paralyzing. Can you imagine just the smell? That's their way of defense. It's just the stench that just goes through your body, like just paralyzes.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
You got it in the mug, huh?
I got it right in the face.
Wow, how long did it take before you didn't stink? Because you smelled
Probably 2
long
weeks.
I was just wondering, like,
It
how
was,
long did that wait?
It was several weeks. Yeah, and I tried the tomato, and I tried
Yeah.
the baking soda. And
I think they have special soap now,
Yeah.
just for skunks. But when my dog got zapped,
Oh,
she got zapped in like 1980. I think it was 1980 because I was living in Jamaica Plain, and she went out in the backyard, and I think she thought that it was our cat because we had a cat that was black and white, and she just ran right up to that skunk, and it took her right in the side of her body. Like she tried to turn away, but it got her all over her body. She was wet with skunk spray.
Oh yeah,
It was so nasty. I had to take her inside, and I had to do it because she was my dog.
Skunk
Even though I was 13, I had to like cover her with tomato juice and wash her down. And she still stunk. The whole house stunk.
It's so funny because I was getting ready for a road trip this a couple years ago, and I looked over and I was like, did we walk Duke? It was like 9 o'clock at night. We were exhausted, packed everything up, had the car ready to go for the next morning. I was like, did we walk Duke? Did we walk Duke? We're gonna take Duke, our dog. So we did. I was like, it's 9 o'clock. I'm outside, and I hear him like, run, no. And he goes, and I thought, oh my god, he just got eaten. Somebody just ate him. I was like, oh my gosh. I ran out there to look for him, and he comes running in, he jumps in bed, covered in skunk. The whole house, like, it was so strong. It's unbelievable. That smell is just like,
It's so incredible. And the way someone
So
explains to me, like animals like bloodhounds and bears, they have an insane sense of smell.
Oh god, like 100,000 times stronger than ours, right?
Right, but they can pick up parts per million the way we pick up skunk.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So think about that. So if a skunk gets hit by a car like a mile away, you can smell it. Have you ever driven?
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
if it's a mile.
I can
but-
drive over it, and then my car smells like it.
Yeah, if you're in the neighborhood where a skunk got something, you could smell it.
Yeah.
So for some strange reason, it permeates. Like it carries more than any other smell. With dogs, that's how they smell everything. They're like, oh, Roscoe's home. Like they can smell things that you can't even imagine they can smell, especially like a bloodhound. And then a bear can smell like, what is a bear's like ability to smell above a bloodhound? It's something crazy. My friend was
Sharks in the ocean can sense blood from miles away.
miles,
incredible.
insane, miles away. They can smell blood miles away.
God, something I remember.
Look at this, 300 times. Look at this. This is crazy.
Wow,
Bears have the best sense of smell of any animal on Earth. For example, average dog sense of smell is 100 times better than humans. A bloodhound's is 300 times better. A bear's sense of smell is 7 times than a bloodhound's, or 2,100 times better than a human's. Unbelievable.
That's why they say when you go camping, put your food up in a tree or something,
Oh,
right?
100%. You have to.
You can't have the tent at all.
Oh, when I was a kid, we went camping, and the bear broke open our cooler.
Wow.
Yeah, people just had regular coolers.
You can have like a little cookie in your pocket and be in bed, be in your
Oh,
tent.
yeah.
You're gonna have an issue.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Wow.
100%.
I remember when I was a kid, I went camping and they were like, "Don't have any food." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, I'm like, no, put that stuff. And they were really adamant. I was like, "Why are these guys making such a false thing? Bear's not gonna smell a cookie in my pocket." Like,
Yeah.
of course they will.
They'll look at that like a wonton. Like, look at that soft outer layer and this meat inside of it. They're gonna look at that tent like, look, it's trapped in there.
my gosh!
The meat is
Oh, my
trapped in
God.
the tent. This is crazy.
What was that one movie called where they got the grizzly man or something?
Yeah, grizzly man. That's
And they
what it's
came
called.
and got him. Remember that?
Wow.
He
it's a
thought he
lot
became
more
one
than
with the grizzlies, and then he got eaten.
That's a very complicated movie. That's a Werner Herzog film.
Yeah, Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a really
And
funny
the camera was rolling,
movie.
and they played it,
Sort of. The camera was rolling, but the lens cap was on, so there was an audio.
so it's just audio.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
The
Is it
audio,
leaves up
by
to
the way,
imagination?
folks, the audio you hear on the internet, that's fake.
Oh, it is.
That's not the real one. The real audio, Werner Herzog told the lady to destroy it. Destroy it. No one should hear this.
So he heard it.
Yeah, he heard it. It's long, because bears don't kill you, they eat you. Like a salmon, they don't kill salmon. They just put their paw down and start pulling chunks off of it. That's what they do with people, too.
That's terrifying.
Well, they don't have any predators, so they don't have to kill things and then, worry about someone taking it from them. You're not taking shit from a bear,
Terrifying.
especially a grizzly bear. You're not taking shit from a bear unless you're a bigger bear. So, like, all the other animals have to worry. Like, mountain lions kill quick because wolves will steal from mountain lions. And apparently, in the areas where wolves have been introduced, it's actually become a problem because mountain lions are killing much more than they normally do. Because mountain lions will kill like a deer or 2 deer a week, something like that.
And they eat good. They eat
Yeah,
2
they
deer
eat
a week. That's a lot of meat.
Well, they're big. A
Wow.
big mountain lion is 150 pounds. And
Wow.
it's a big cat. Their cats are they're obligate predators. All they eat is meat. Bears will eat little berries. They'll eat a bunch of shit. Not cats. So the cats are killing more because the wolves scare the cats off of the kill. So if the cat's on a kill and a bunch of wolves show up, the cat will just get the fuck out of there. Like, fuck
Why?
this.
Because he didn't want to defend himself against the wolves?
Exactly, because wolves hunt in packs.
Oh.
So there might be 13, 14 wolves and one cat. The cat will just get the fuck out of there. Cats run from dogs, right? Like, they have a fear of, like, canines, and I think it's from wolves stealing their food. So, like, that's how they hunt cats. The way they hunt them, you have to tree them, because otherwise you're not going to find them. If you find a mountain
What do you
lion,
mean by treeing?
you have to get the dogs to bark them up a tree.
Oh,
So they run up a tree
wow.
and then they shoot them when they're in a tree. Yeah, and it sounds cruel, but listen, they have to do that to manage the populations. If they don't, they start eating dogs. That's what you get in San Francisco. California still kills mountain lions. They kill as many mountain lions as they would if they gave tags out to people to kill them, because you have to kill certain numbers of them for depredation, because they'll start killing livestock, they'll start killing dogs. In the Bay Area, the problem cats that they wound up killing in like San Francisco, half their diet was pets.
Really?
Half their diet. Half their diet was house cats,
People's cats.
dogs and cats. That's half their diet. Half of their diet. So you manage, 100+ pound cat, and he's running around just eating dogs. You leave your dog in your backyard, gone. Happens all the time.
Wow.
It happened to my dog.
Really?
Yeah, my dog in Colorado got eaten by a mountain lion. Yeah, it happens.
Oh God, I feel so bad for
all
my
the
little
time.
guy.
It's
I just
terrible.
Not there to
She was-
protect my little feller.
Yeah.
One time I was hiking up this mountain, and I had my son with me at the time, and he was in that little pouch. That little pouch
Oh,
that you
yeah.
put in the front. Like he was probably maybe 2.5. And I was hiking this mountain pretty daily. It's funny actually because when I went up there without him, I was like, well, this is why people hike with weights on. This feels amazing. I can run up this mountain. Anyway, I was going up the mountain, and I had my dog, my little Duke, and I had my son walking up this mountain, and I come around this go left hand. It's a pretty exposed, not too many trees, some bushes, and it's a hot sunny day, and I see this leg of a deer, just fresh killed, blood on the ground. I was like, God damn, what the hell is that? the hell looked, wow, that's fresh. It's like, huh. I kind of keep going and come around the corner. There's a long straightaway. The hill goes up like this. And I see what looks like a big, like, greyhound dog, kind of like light brown, kind of walking kind of back and forth like this with a tail. And I was like, man, who the hell is greyhound is doing out here? Like, what the hell is, that's a mountain lion. I was like, holy shit. And the mountain lion turns around and looked at me. And I had my kid. I was like, shit. So I grabbed my dog and I turned around and I started running. And I knew that I shouldn't be running. So I'm running going, I shouldn't be running. I shouldn't be running. I know I shouldn't be running. But I wanted to get around the corner and get out of its line of sight. And then I go, well, if he comes up on me, I'm going to have to throw my dog. I was like, I looked at Duke and I said, if it comes down to it, Duke, you're going to have to take one for the team. You know,
That's a horrible
it was a horrible choice, but I had my son. Like,
Of course, I get it.
But I remember looking at him
too.
and I was like looking at my dog going, oh man, this is a horrible decision I have to make. But if it comes down to it, I'm going to have to sacrifice you, buddy. I love you. You know, that didn't come down to it. But I remember running going, you're an idiot, James. Why are you running? Not supposed to be running.
You can't run. Well, that's the problem with mountain bikers. They get got because when they pass by a cat, it's almost like rolling a ball of yarn past a kitten. They are predators.
And they'll catch bikes, huh?
Oh yeah,
They
they
run.
get people on bikes. Yeah, that's happened a few times. They get people on bikes. They get joggers, people on bikes. They think you're running away from them.
Could you
Can't
imagine
help
what
it.
it's like to be running for your life? Having something like that chase you?
Yeah, I can. I mean, it hasn't happened to me, but I've seen them.
I'm gonna,
I've seen 3 of them in my lifetime. Only one of them would scare the shit out of me. I saw one in Colorado. I saw one in Montecito, like Santa Barbara area. It was small. Those are small ones. They're like 50, 60 pounds. And then I saw one with a buddy of mine, my friend Colton and I. We spotted one under a tree that was 30 yards away. We were in a truck and it made me shit my pants.
wow,
It
they're
was so
big.
big. This one was really big. This was a mature male with a big pumpkin head and huge forearms like a fucking bodybuilder. It was freaky. It was freaky to see because, you know, it was, first of all, it was dusk. So the sun was going down and the lights of the truck, even though it wasn't quite dark yet, the lights of the truck were making his eyes glow.
Oh my God.
And you could see him with the naked eye, but then I put my binoculars on. And so I've got these 10 power binoculars. I'm zoomed in on this thing's face. I'm like, holy.
Looks like he belongs in Africa.
Well, he belonged right where he was,
Yeah.
man. We didn't belong there.
Let me tell you a really cool story that's a UFO, the best UFO picture I think it's ever taken.
You haven't?
Is
I
this-
look at it, you
Yes.
tease me.
No. We're going to look for it. Okay, so can you find the program trailer on here at all? Or
Yeah, for sure.
all right, find the program trailer. I'm going to tell you about this.
Is this
So-
the trailer?
yeah,
Let's
just the
just watch the trailer.
Oh, let's watch it.
Story exposing a secret government program investigating UFOs.
That story was kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that have happened since. Members of Congress started to ask questions.
Instruments report there is something there. There are flight characteristics that we can't explain. UAPs are unexplained. It's true. They need to be investigated.
Here we are having a hearing where just a few years ago we didn't even acknowledge that these things were real.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
You're telling me people have come forward claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin.
That's correct. We have sources who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came to some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they human or non-human?
Non-human.
I'm sitting here today because the American people are being lied to.
We are the American government, and we are open, and we're going to be open about this. It's been revealed non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. Is only part of the story.
The pressure's on. The Pentagon and the CIA are going to have to answer the man.
Some are risking everything.
Have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life?
Yes, personally, to uncover the rest.
What is being done to verify the assertion that the U.S. government has spaceships of non-human intelligence in their possession?
That kind of revelation unearths people's beliefs.
How we go to jail to say things that I've been exposed to in the program?
Okay, we're gonna need some Quaker Chewy chocolate chip granola bars, the 89-ounce Simply Orange Juice, or what Santa likes to call the old 89er. Oh, what?
The key to fast repairs is having tools organized and close at hand. U.S. General's top-rated cards provide advanced features at an incredible value. Our best-selling cards come in 4 sizes in an extensive selection of colors, only at Harbor Freight.
Bro, is that Mick Jagger? Was that other guy Mick Jagger?
Isn't he amazing? That's Hal Puthoff.
Hal Puthoff?
Oh,
No,
yeah, I know.
Mick Jagger's
Doesn't it look like Mick Jagger?
That's not Mick
That's
Jagger?
Gary McKinnon. He's
Oh.
the biggest computer hacker in history.
Let me see what he looks like.
He almost went to jail for life because he was like, I'm going to find out what the government knows about UFOs. So he hacked into the systems, NSA, CIA, DIA, like, where is it? Yeah, you want to see that really cool picture?
In the film.
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
it,
You
he
guys
looks
like towards the end. Yeah,
he
no, he
looks
totally looks like Mick
exactly
Jagger.
like
It's
Mick
really
Jagger.
funny you should say that because
I totally thought it was Mick
I
Jagger.
saw it and I'm like, wait a minute, that does look like a rock star. He is a rock star in the UFO community. It's coming up. You'll have to pause it quickly when it hits. But Gary McKinnon took it upon himself, a computer hacker, to find out if the government had proof of alien visitation. And he spent a couple years hacking systems, and he got paid for it. There it is. That was it.
Bro, that's
Mick
Mick Jagger. That is
Doesn't it
Mick
look
Jagger.
like Mick? It does look
That's
like
Mick Jagger.
That's so
Mick Jagger's in
funny.
the UFOs. You should just like only show that clip, like they do in horror movies where the mask is not that good. It's real quick.
Yeah. But so, well, I was going to tell you, there's a photograph of a jet circling. Can I go into a little bit of
Yes,
detail? Because
please,
everyone's
please.
always worried about like, where's the good evidence? Where's the good photograph?
Show
There
that
we go.
photograph.
Yeah. So it's yeah, there we go.
But this was a lost photograph that was recovered.
Yeah, yeah. You know about this?
Yeah, I know about this.
Okay, so I heard about this in the late '90s.
Tell everybody about it.
Okay, so there was a guy, Nick Pope, who investigated as part of the UFO desk at the Ministry of Defense of England in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, maybe even as late as early 2000s. But in any case, and I was interviewing him for a number of my films. There was a film called Loud Blue, I Know What I Saw, before I did The Phenomenon. And I asked him, like, hey, man, you were a part of the UFO desk at the MIT. What was the best case you ever saw? And he goes, oh, man, 1990. He didn't give me the town. It was Calvine. But he said, Scotland, there were 2 poachers. They called them hikers, but they were actually poaching. That's what made me think about this when we were talking about animals earlier. And he said it was late in the afternoon. They were at a place, I now know it's called Calvine. And they came upon in this relatively remote area. I know because I hiked out to the exact spot. It's in the movie, and they came upon this diamond-shaped or disc-shaped object that was quite large, that was hovering silently, really close. I mean, close. And they were scared to death, and they were kind of hiding out underneath this tree, and they're looking at this thing. What the are we looking at? And I was looking at this thing as it's silently hovering. Remember, this is 1990, okay? And one of them had a camera. And just as he was considering taking his camera out, a military jet came in. Turns out it was one of those Harrier jet. They think it was a Harrier jet. And it came out into the scene, and it flew all the way around the disc. And as it did so, the guy mustered up the courage, came out from under the tree, and he snapped 5 or 6 photographs of this object suspended in the air. And it went, so the disc is here, and the plane is flying around us. Click, 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 click. And the reason why I know this is because the individual who kept one of the prints, thank you very much, Craig Lindsay, RAF press officer, and thank you, David Clark, for uncovering this, because it's the most amazing picture ever. And the 2 hotel workers just outside the town of Calvine, Scotland, came back, and they were like telling their co-workers, oh my God, we encountered this thing, we don't know what it was. Blah, blah. So they go to the local newspaper, and they were like, hey man, we just filmed something in the sky. We got 6 prints of it. It was 35 millimeter film footage, right? And they're going to go public with their story. 2 witnesses, broad daylight, a UFO, points of reference with a military jet flying around, 5 or 6 prints. That's pretty solid evidence, right? So the local newspaper was like, they're about to go public with it, print the story, and they were like, well, we need a statement from the RAF. So they contacted the press officer, Craig Lindsay, and they were like, hey, what do you make of this UFO these guys took. And the guy, and Craig Lindsay goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen the picture. You haven't seen it? Well, let me send you a print. This is the newspaper. Sends him a print, big print like this, the one you see today. And he's like, holy shit, the hell is this? He's an RAF press officer, Craig Lindsay. So he starts getting in touch with the MOD, and he goes out and he investigates this, go talk to the witnesses, and they're telling him. And he goes, well, they tell him what happened, and he goes, well, what kind of noise did it make? They say it didn't make any noise. No, he goes, no noise. That's impossible. You know, an object that can hover like that in the sky for that period of time, we're talking 34 years ago, it didn't make any noise. And the witness said no. So he was like, holy shit, this is crazy. So he takes a color Xeroxing machine and he sends it to the MOD in London. And he says, hey, there's a case that you might want to check, you might want to look into. And here's a Xerox, which is really crappy. It's just a scanned Xerox, like a fax machine over to MOD. He said he went from the office where the Xerox machine was, and before he could get back to his office, his phone was ringing off the hook, MOD. And the MOD basically stepped in, took over the investigation. They said, you can step down to Craig Lindsay. He steps down. He keeps the print, right? He steps down. They take over. Witnesses gone. 5 or 6 prints gone. Story killed, right? So 30, and we rumored about it because Nick Pope had talked about this case in a book he wrote called Open Skies, Closed Minds. And then I talked to him about it in late 90s, then I talked to him about it again in the early 2000s, and I was like, Nick, especially in 2007, I was like, tell me about this photograph. And he's like, oh, it was incredible. We had a big poster of it on the wall, the MOD, and I was like, well, where is it? He goes, well, I don't know. I stepped down and no longer at the UFO desk, and I said, well, then you just throw that away. Why don't you get in touch with the people that were there and find out? He's like, James, I can't just make these inquiries. We killed the story. It was like, so I was incredibly frustrated. So discreetly for over a 20-year period, I was making inquiries because I don't like to let the things go, right? It was like, this picture exists. And, well, yeah, let's get this one out there. But the story went dark. So David Clark found Craig Lindsay, and the way he found Craig Lindsay, the guy that kept one of the prints, is that he got a declassified government document out of the MOD's office that had redactions on it. And one of the things it said was, it was 1990, and they said, RAF press officer in Scotland, blacked out, said that blah, 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 blah. And he's like, who was the RAF press officer in 1990 in Scotland? Craig Lindsay. Boom, contacts Craig Lindsay. They started communication going. And then after
so much for redactions.
Yeah, so much for redactions, right? And so this whole dialogue starts going, and they're developing and then he goes, well, gosh, I guess I might have one. It turns out he ended up keeping one of those prints, which he had. And that story broke probably 2 years ago. David Clark, again, I can't thank you enough. You deserve accolades for this. And so I flew to England. I met with David Clark and his crew, the people that did the analysis work. Then I went up to Scotland. I met with Craig Lindsay, the art press officer, gave me the first and only on-camera interview about it, what astonished him about it, the analysis work they did on it, what the witnesses said. But we didn't have the witnesses, the people that took the photograph. We didn't have them, but I was going to report on this anyway, just because, wow, this is the picture that we've all been waiting for. This picture is phenomenal. But if you don't have provenance and you don't have the background story on it, it could be AI, it could be it could be a hoax. Some people call it a reflection, not a hoax. So I'm ending production of the program, and I get a text from David Clark, and he goes, something big is about to happen. And I said, what? He goes, just sit tight. I can't go public right now. Something big's going to happen. There's a new development. And this is just teases. Well,
I sure do love anything that helps dreams come true. So we have hidden special butterfly tickets inside 10 Tennessee Playcation Kids guides. Will you find one?
To go further, you need to be ready for what's down the road. As energy demand continues to rise, we are harnessing breakthrough innovations to increase production in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico. Our latest deepwater development, Anchor, produces previously inaccessible oil and natural gas, allowing us to deliver the energy we all need today so everyone can follow their own road. That's energy in progress.
I'm coming out with it. I promise.
But
So-
he teased you.
He did tease me. He did tease me, but I was like, well, I'm almost done with the movie, and if this is something I can include in the movie about the case, please let me know. So long story short, this guy, Richard Greaves, who was one of the hotel cooks, worked in the kitchen with the photographers, with the two witnesses that took the photograph. And Richard Greaves came forward on print. Then I contacted David Clark. I was like, hey, can you get me an interview with this guy? So he kept putting it off, and then finally I was like, I wanted to be persistent, but I didn't want to annoy the guy to the point where he's like, hey, you know what? You're being annoying.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But I got right up to that point, right? Where I was like, I was wrapping the movie. The movie's done, and I want to get this movie out. All the people that participated wanted it out. And then I finally sent him one final text, and I was like, look, I'm really sorry to pester you. And I know you're probably really busy, and I really appreciate the fact that you even said that you'll meet with me, but that you'll give me an interview. And then probably about 10 o'clock that night, I'm in the editor room buttoning the film up, and all of a sudden I get a phone call, and he's like, I'm just coming out the pub, and I'm ready to go. I was like, okay, grab a camera, roll it, let's record this. And he reveals that he knew the witnesses. He worked with them in the kitchen. He gave all the specifics, provided their names, and then he said that 4 nights after they took that photograph, they were all on a cigarette break at the hotel, early evening, pissing rain. He said a car rolled up. There were 3 guys in it, a driver and 2 men in suits in the back. They roll up, they come out, they say cigarette break's over. They pull the 2 witnesses aside, and they grilled him. And you got to hear it directly from the horse's mouth. Richard Greaves said that when they were all, the people that were not involved in the incident were told to go back inside the hotel, which they did, but they looked through the window and they saw in the pissing rain, he said they were out there for 10 or 15 minutes in the pissing rain, and that these guys, they came back inside and they were white as a, he literally goes, they came back inside, they were white as a fucking ghost. And which we all get a good laugh out of, but and then they started drinking heavily, and within a couple of weeks they vanished without a trace, and they've been gone ever since. So we report on this, and yeah, that's a replica. That's a replica.
It's way too clear.
That's a replica from Nick Pope that he did for some series talking about it, and that was before the real photograph was found and printed.
Let's see the real photograph.
Yeah, show the real photograph again. I got it. There it is. Yep.
Okay, so what was he doing? Show the fake one more time.
Yeah, that's
So-
a recreation before it leaked out.
So was he just recreating what he remembered?
Yes.
Let me see the real one again.
Pretty damn good, isn't it? That he remembered
Not
that.
bad. Not bad. Missed the barbed wire fence,
Yeah.
but not mad.
That-
Put
so-
in a bunch of bullshit back.
I went to the exact location. That
all the bullshit he put in there. Put in beautiful
Yeah.
hills.
I know, and that fence is still there. There was a
Go back row.
yeah, that
Okay.
fence is still there. I took a
So
monitor.
what is that jet in the background?
A Harrier jet is what I'm told. They're 99% sure.
And was that Harrier jet trying to figure out what this was?
Well, like I said, in the other prints, according to Craig Lindsay, the RAF press officer, he said the other 6 prints or 5 prints had that Harrier jet in a different position. So he said it was zipped. The Harrier jet flew around checking that out. Now,
Where are those other prints?
we have other MOD, just they were gone. They killed the story. I mean, the guy at the MOD who worked there, Nick Pope, told me that they did everything they could to squash it because.
Don't you think they probably have it filed away somewhere?
Of course they do.
Throw it away.
Of course they didn't throw those pictures away. They
Can you
killed the
zoom in on
story.
this, Jeremy, please?
Yeah, that's a really crap copy. You're looking at a really bad print, guys.
Can you
Yeah.
zoom in?
I've got a much
Back
better.
again?
I've got a much better version of it.
You got it on your phone?
Yeah, I do.
Text it to a homie. This image is it's weird
Yeah, it's
because it's hard to see what you're looking at. You know.
It's yeah. Well, let me show you a much better copy of it. Hang on, let me just scroll up here because I've got a really good. I got the original print of this copy, but people talk about the more compelling data and the links. So this is the photograph that I took at the site. You can get an idea of that.
Okay.
See how
That's what it looks like.
right? How similar, right?
Exactly the same.
Yep. And then here's the print. I could text that to you guys if you want.
Yeah, text that to me. I'll text it.
I'll text it to you guys.
Both of them. Send both of them. It's very interesting.
Very interesting case. I mean, I think it's one of the best photographic cases because you're not dealing with just a UFO. You've got a military jet in the background. And if you have a date and a location, guess what? That pilot's still out there. That
Right.
pilot probably got it on radar and probably got gun cam
If
footage.
he's still alive.
Well, he would have been probably young, right? Pilots are young.
Sure.
He would have been in his 30s or maybe early 40s, and that was 34 years ago.
Right.
So chances are he's still alive. They're pretty fit, right?
Yeah, maybe he's in the 70s.
Okay, I'm gonna text this to you right now. So here we go. Boom. You should have that. Did I get you all? Did I get all of them to you? And here is a picture of Craig Lindsay. This is great. You're gonna love this. Okay, this is the guy that kept it.
I didn't get it yet.
You didn't? No. I wonder if it's because I have my phone on airplane.
Yeah, take it off airplane mode, bro. I told you to do
Okay.
that.
Oh, you did?
I was trying to explain to you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it's off now. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, it won't actually send it.
Oh, it won't. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right.
It's like dealing
See
with my dad.
I know. I'm so bad. I know. You were telling me how to do it. I was like, I haven't done that before.
It's funny, people that don't understand how to use the phone.
Tell me if that goes through. Okay. Great
Do you need
shot.
me to send it?
Okay, you do it. Yeah, there's that one, and there's flip left to right on it. But it just goes to show the lengths that the intel community, the Ministry of Defense, the DoD go to hide the more compelling photographic data, because it's so easy to complain like, oh, well, if they were real, there would be good. But, well, there are some really good
Bro, you
friends.
got Joe Exotic in your phone.
You guys are looking at other stuff.
Yes.
I found drones that you can. I don't know that they're commercially available.
Did you get all the ones you
necessarily,
wanted?
but you can have a drone up for 24 plus
That
hours.
didn't send it to me either.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so
What the-
weird.
Am I sending it to the wrong telephone number?
Let me see your number. This number you have. I might
Okay.
have my old
Well, I
one.
have it. I definitely have it on Signal. Yeah, you do it. Here, fuck it. You take it over. You drive. Because I'm clearly failing with this one.
I'm just gonna check to see what I sent it to, because I changed my number. So people get weird.
Oh, I can totally imagine that.
This
was
is
the
a
case.
separate. I found some drones that these companies say that you can take off anywhere. They're showing them taking off from like small platforms in the ocean. They can stay up in the air for 14 plus hours. They're
Yeah.
small and they do have propellers. I will say that.
Mm. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's not the question is, are all of these drones, explainable by aliens? And the answer obviously is no. The question is, are any of these bona fide UAP? And there's definitely some evidence to suggest that's the case. But again, there's always misidentification of more conventional stuff, right?
Right.
And there's always, and then there's a stubborn core percent. I'll give you an example. This is something that I've discussed a little bit recently. Did you find it okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. We finally got that enigma worked out.
Yeah, it's just your 5G is very slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you using AT&T. What do you
Oh, I use Verizon.
Verizon. I use
Yeah.
Verizon too.
Really?
Yeah, it's just
Huh.
so slow.
Do I have what's one call it on?
I accidentally sent myself these other ones of the guy holding it up too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's Craig Lindsay.
So I'll send this to you.
So let me tell you a little story. It's pretty cool, which I never thought that this would happen. There's a guy, Kurt McConnell, in the Senate Armed Service Committee, and he participated at the very last minute in my film. He's in the trailer, and he, in an official capacity with high level clearance, he had been investigating UFOs ever since the New York Times article in 2017. So he was behind the scenes, 2017, 2018.
And then
it's all sorts of awesome.
Tail end of 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, and then he stepped down. And he came through some intel folks. We got in touch, and I said, hey, man, my film's almost done. If you want, I could squeeze in one final interview. He decided to participate. Up he went. We became friends. We've been talking. And he said, hey, I could probably arrange a meeting because there's some mutual interest in some UFO cases and evidence that I've been going after as a civilian. But he goes, hey, on the inside, if you want, I can hook you up with the heads of Arrow, the new heads of Arrow, John Kostkowski, and this other guy, Ryan, who's Air Force Office of Special Investigations. This is just a couple weeks ago. So I went to the congressional hearings, which was incredible. And people say, oh, it's a big nothing burger. But you know what? It's very exciting. Seeing people testify under oath. There's a crash retrieval program. Seeing a Rear Admiral, Tim Gallaudet, saying that they're under the water. I mean, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to apply for a security background on me, which was about 48 hours. And then I got approval for that. And then I showed up in a wing across the street from the Pentagon. And I had to go through the metal detector. And then there are these kind of exciting for me because I had never had this kind of experience before. There are these like glass tube type things that are lined up like in a row. And only one person can go in at a time. The doors open just like in Star Trek. You walk in and that door closes and the other one opens. You go to the other side. Then I had to get rid of my phone and everything and leave it outside. And then I go into a skiff, which is a sensitive compartmented information facility. The skiff's all super top secret, whatever. And I got to meet with the new head of Aero, John Koslowski. I was like, I can't believe I'm in the belly of the beast. This is crazy. Like I thought, how could I'm a civilian. I don't belong here. But we started talking, just very nonchalantly. I said, hey, you guys got to throw us a bone. I said, we're not going away. The story is not going away. And I said, what we're ultimately dealing with. I mean, obviously, the vast majority of UAP or UFOs can be and have been explained away in down-to-earth conventional terms, right? But there's a stubborn core 15, 20% that really defy conventional explanation, not because of a lack of data, because they truly can't explain what these things do. And well, you've had many people on. These objects exhibit a technology that's just light years advanced from anything that we have. And it's been well documented since the 1940s, and possibly some people would say way before that. But modern day UFO wave, no question. So there's two stories. One is someone's been in possession of this revolutionary technology for 85 plus years and kept it secret. Or two, we're not alone, right?
Right.
And so I said to the gentleman very candidly, we're probably dealing with a small percentage of NHI. And what's the plan to tell the general public? This is just a couple weeks ago. And he looked at me and he goes, James, I can't part my hair without approval from the DOD. And you can quote me on that. And that was him, in my opinion, telling me, hey, this is structured in a way that my hands are tied. I can uncover all the things in the world, but I can't tell the general public or even Congress without the DOD approving it first.
Yeah.
So that's what's kind of happening right now. And one of the reasons why we were so fortunate to get the number of I say whistleblowers or potential whistleblowers or people who come forward in the program is because they were super frustrated with the previous head of Aero, which is a guy named Sean Kirkpatrick, which basically just kind of blanket, denied pretty much almost everything. And people were extremely disappointed with that. But
just like Blue Book.
Yeah, kind of like Blue Book, yeah.
They've always done that, right?
Yeah, but
again, it
but
brings
not
us
everybody's doing it. Not everybody's doing it.
Right. There's a bunch of I think now also with the internet, there's ways to get information out that's much quicker and cleaner.
No question.
Than trusting a reporter.
Yeah.
And then your life's in danger and the reporter gets threatened and now things just kind of get out.
Well, I've thought about this, like, going back to Brazil, and I thought, I'm obviously going after, additional eyewitness testimony, going after the photographic stuff, and those of you out there that are like tired of hearing about it, well, I spent 20 plus years in search of the photograph that I featured just now, that one, the background story on it, provenance, that sort of thing.
Jamie, go look at the one that I sent you. It's a better version of it.
Yeah, and so I thought, just because you can't, after a year or two, haven't successfully obtained stuff.
So this is a better version.
Yeah, it's a better version that you can see the granular of the film footage.
It's weird. It almost looks like there's something in the back.
It does look a little bit like that.
Propeller or something, like a Jetsons type.
But let's just say
that thing was silent, supposedly.
Silent, according to the witnesses. It didn't make any sound. It hovered there for an extended period of time. And when it took off straight vertical like this, straight up.
Fast.
It started going faster, and then it was gone. Yep, that was Craig Lindsay who interviewed the witnesses who told him that. And it's so weird though. According to Richard Greaves in Scotland, the Americans got involved.
Of course, we get involved in everything.
Yep, they showed up and they intimidated the shit out of the witnesses. And I know people can criticize me for reporting on these alleged men in black, but it's not me saying it; it's the witnesses that are saying it. And I did it full bore for the first time in Moment of Contact, because I remember hearing these stories for decades, and I finally was like, everyone's going to think I'm crazy if I report on this. But this lady, who was the mother of the two daughters that had these visits and intimidation, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to report on this, and I'll just take the criticism, And then I wasn't expecting this to be the case with this photograph, but lo and behold, it was. But Anyway, it's a huge story. In my opinion, they can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's coming out, and it's drip, drip, drip. But I have to remind your audience, people that are feeling impatient, that we've had 3 open congressional hearings in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
We hadn't had any in over 50 years prior to that.
it's definitely, even though it's still difficult to get information and figure out what's actually going on, there's way more open mainstream discussion of it.
And it's frustrating at times. I get it. You know, people are like, oh, well, why all these people? Why can't they just say? Why can't David Grush just tell us? You know. Well, I like to remind people that the DoD has stripped David Grush of his clearances and won't allow him to get into a SCIF. This is one of the things that I talked to this guy, Brian Bender, who appears in the movie Politico, and he goes, if Congress finds out about it, one thing we know on the Hill is that you're going to find out about it. They can't keep it secret. It's going to leak. So they've been doing everything they can, and imagine it's the DoD, to prevent Grush from going into a SCIF with members of Congress to release and reveal the classified details necessary to verify his claims. Okay.
If you've been
So-
keeping this under wraps for 60 plus years or whatever they've been doing,
Yeah.
would you really tell AOC? Would you really pull her aside and tell her?
Well, I mean, any members of Congress with the proper clearances and feel like they want to have that information. I mean, you got
Nothing
Mace.
wrong with her.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
even
yeah.
saying her. I'm just saying, just pick a young one.
Well,
You're
you
going to give them all that information.
exactly. They don't want them to have that information. There's no question about it. I mean,
I would. That's what I would imagine. That's probably why
So-
they won't let Grush get into a SCIF.
So here's another thing I'd like to mention is that David Grush claims that he gave even the street address to the ICIG, which is Thomas Monheim. That's the Intelligence Community Inspector General. So I'm asking members of Congress to support all the efforts, for Chet, who's been amazing, regardless of what your politics, the guy's phenomenal. He's been really pushing for transparency, he's a super solid guy. You got Mace, you got Muskowski, what's his